What is up? Welcome to this week's episode of Lambgoat's Vanflip podcast. Today, I am joined by Chris Pervelis, long-running slam purveyor, slam pioneer for the and guitarist and founding guitarist for the band Internal Bleeding, Long Island slam brutal death metal outfit. And we are lucky enough to be joined by Chris sitting from his patio. If you're not on the YouTube or on a video, he's smoking a nice stogie and enjoying a nice Monday evening drink. Welcome to the show, Chris. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It's good to, see you so relaxed and enjoying this fine Monday afternoon. It's been a really interesting week in the last week around the world. So, it's nice to see you kicking back.
It's been a crazy week, and we're getting ready to leave for a run of a couple of shows on Wednesday, so it's a little stressful here trying to get everything sorted. I got people, my bandmates are all over the place, they're out of different states and stuff like that. So coordinating them all and getting them all together so we can get here and practice and making sure the van's all set up and all that stuff. It's been a crazy couple of days just trying to get it all organized. And, I finally said, you know what, I need a break. And it's just very fortuitous that we're doing this podcast now because it's cocktail time for me. So I have a cocktail, I've got a cigar, talking to some people, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, as I always say, right?
Yep, absolutely.
He's on Margaritaville time, although he's not drinking a margarita. He's doing a more gentlemanly drink, I would call it. But yeah, you guys are getting ready for some shows. Not only that, but you're getting ready to release another album. Settle All Scores is coming out shortly in the next handful of weeks here. You guys just released a new song, Crown of Insignificance, I believe last week, right? Early last week?
Well, 3 weeks ago, we did Crown of Insignificance, and last week we launched we let go the title track.
Title track, yeah. Good.
Yeah.
You would know better than I, Chris. You would know better than I.
Yeah. Listen, you can't get all your facts straight. I can't even get all my facts straight. So
it is a tough one out here. But I feel like I should. I have a little bit of a pulse on what's going around. Just I don't know every little aching detail. That's my downfall.
Perfectly understandable.
Yeah. As part of your tour, the upcoming shows and whatnot, you guys are also jumping on the God forbid 20-year celebration tour as well, or show as well. So that must be kind of exciting because you guys are, all roughly in the same area. You probably have a long history with those guys.
Oh yeah. We've played with them numerous times. It's good to have them back, and it's awesome that it's going to be on Long Island, our home base.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun and honestly makes things easy for me because I'm only 30 minutes from the club. So all the guys will come here. We'll play the show in the Philly area on Saturday night. We'll come here Sunday morning. We'll wake up. We'll have breakfast. Hopefully the weather's nice. We can sit in the back patio, have coffee, cigars, and get ready for a killer show on Sunday. And it'll be an early show, so it'll be done. It'll be over with, and everybody goes their way. And I bring Steve to the airport, and it's back to work on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been around for a little bit longer, like early '90s. You guys are one of the founding purveyors of the genre, and we'll get into that later on here. But the matinee show seems to be making somewhat of a resurgence and not just up in your area, but like all over. I've seen where I'm at, North Florida and Florida in general. We're starting to see a lot more early shows, mostly in the hardcore realm. But it definitely is something that seems to be making a comeback. How do you feel about that?
I think so. It's funny you said that. I don't know if it was last week or the week before. So the show we're playing with God forbid is not a matinee. It's early, but it's not matinee early. But I did notice a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know what show it was. It said doors open 1:00.
Yeah.
Show starts at 2:00, and I'm like, holy shit, the Sunday matinee's back.
Yeah.
Because back in the 90s, we played Sunday matinees all the time. It was awesome. The middle of the afternoon, everybody's home by 5 o'clock. And I thought they were really cool. And I'm glad they're kind of coming back.
I never had the opportunity to do something like that as far as like a matinee show. By the time I kind of started going to shows all the time, it was like a evening situation. So it just became like a thing. that I've always just been used to. But it'd be interesting to see. You know, I've never had the chance to take in an early show. I mean, in this realm, I've seen, you know, events earlier in the day, but you know, concerts and whatnot usually are like a night evening out for me. So it'll be interesting to partake in that.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's really, it's a different mindset because it's like, you know, in between bands, you walk outside and it's light out and you're like, whoa, what's going on? Oh, it's only 3:00,
Yeah.
you know? So, it's a little bit of a vibe shift but I think it's really cool. I mean, I used to love it. And, you know, considering how busy my life is and how much I work, it's nice to hopefully that we can do some more Sunday shows that are matinees. Cause I'd like to be home by 6-7 o'clock and get ready for bed and do whatever. Cause I get up at 3:30, 4:00 in the morning every day to start work.
Oh boy.
So, it would be a boon to me to get home early. So
I definitely have seen, I mean, I read a lot about, like, you know, in the old New York hardcore book and all the books that are kind of based around that time frame, a lot of like early matinee shows. And I was curious because, you know, the rumor around venues and touring and stuff like that. And I don't know if you guys have it or if you have input on this as you sip your bourbon right there. But I've heard that like alcohol sales and beverage sales in general for clubs and concert venues have just been kind of going down over the course of the last couple of years. So it'd be interesting to see, or interesting to know, if like maybe the matinee show kind of doubles as an opportunity for the venue or something like that to do 2 events in one night and maybe not have like a show that may not sell alcohol.
There's certainly that, and there's definitely a demographic issue when it comes to alcohol. I think there's younger people definitely don't drink as much as people who grew up in my age or whatever.
Right.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that's pretty cool. But I think clubs who rely on the revenue will go, like you were saying, do a matinee so they can get the older crowd in later in the day at night to do some drinking.
Yeah.
I already see it happen in some places. We've played some shows where even on a Saturday night, we played an early show and they're like, get the fuck out because we've got another show coming in, and it'll be like, you know, whatever, a rave or whatever. And everybody's drinking and getting fucked up and stuff. So, that's an interesting point. I wonder if clubs are going to start doing that.
Yeah. Cause you do see, I mean, locally here, at least you do see a lot of like theme nights, like you were saying, like the raves, whether it be like the Shrek rave, Taylor Swift night, 80s night, or I don't even think they do 80s night anymore. It's too old at this particular point. You can't go 40 years back. You can only go 20 years back. So something in the 90s or something. But it seems like a lot of those events are coming and becoming like a mainstay. But, you know, I also wonder if these establishments have also thought about maybe utilizing other forms of beverages or things that they can sell, like maybe a Capri Sun or maybe a non-alcoholic kind of thing. You know
what?
I don't know if they thought about that or do that.
You're absolutely right. I mean, most bars will have Coke, Diet Coke, ginger,
right.
You know, the staples, but
a bigger spread would be a better option for some people, you know?
More energy drinks and more other non-alcoholic options, I think, are great. I don't know. I suspect the profit margin is nowhere near as good as it is with alcohol. And I think the owners of these clubs and this and that haven't caught up with and I'm guilty of this a little bit too. They haven't caught up with the changing times, you know, and it's hard, you know, they're stuck in a pattern of business, and they lack how to survive in business is 80%. I own my own business, so I know this. 80 to 90% of it is flexibility. You have to adjust to the changing times constantly.
Yeah.
and on top of that, you have to see ahead. You have to see over the hill and see what's coming next so you can be ready for it. So I think a lot of these club owners don't see that. And I think that actually your point about the non-alcoholic stuff, it's a good idea.
It's just a pivot, that way you can get a couple more dollars off the table.
How expensive it is to put a little, whatever, 2-foot high cooler, windowed cooler with Capri Suns stacked up or whatever's popular, and you sell it for, they can buy it in bulk. They can get it cheap.
I would assume, the profit has to be decent on, like, if you're selling a Capri Sun for a handful of dollars, what does a Capri Sun cost even at
Well, yeah. I mean,
even at your grocery store, like a pack of a 10-pack or whatever they come in, it's got to be like $4, $5, $6, $7. I mean, I don't know. Sell a Capri Sun for $5. I think you're doing well.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. I think it's a good idea, especially since I know that the younger, I say younger generation, like I'm some fucking
right.
But I am almost 60 years old, so like.
But people our age also don't drink too. There's people our age that don't drink or are in our demographic.
Yeah, but it's not like when I grew up, everybody drank.
Yeah. No.
Everybody, and it's a different world now. And I think there's probably a lot of owners of venues who don't see over that. They've got tunnel vision. They say, beer is a markup of X percent. That's how much I can make. And they don't even look anywhere else.
Right.
And then they end up charging the band 20% for merchandise because they're not making enough money at the bar.
Yeah.
It's short-sighted, and I think that's one of the reason there's such turnover in clubs. They close down, this and that, because I don't think a lot of club owners have a persistent, logical vision. Not that I'm an expert, but I'm a business owner, so right. I kind of understand.
Well, you've been in a venue or two. You know the kind of person that would own one, the kind of people that are in there that frequent there, and also make the establishment work. You kind of are well aware of what that whole situation is behind the curtain, so I can kind of trust that opinion. Just like I don't know every little in and out of what it takes to run a venue or make it work, but I've been in and out of enough to know that they're all relatively the same for the most part. But again, it might take away from making mocktails instead of slinging beers and easy mixed drinks. But I don't know, maybe you can charge the same amount for Shirley Temple as you could a 12-ounce beer. Who knows? I don't know. But.
Yeah, you got to talk to what's his name, John Taffer from Bar Rescue. Yeah. I bet he knows.
Man, that'd be interesting to see John Taffer show up to the local hardcore and metal venue and give it a little, slap of paint.
Knowing this is all wrong.
Yeah. You can't have these kinds of bands in here. You need like something else. That'd be interesting to see what he would.
Western band. We're gonna change CBGBs to
Flower Shop.
Yeah.
They already did that, unfortunately. Let's get let's jump back into some of the music stuff here. You guys have a new record out, like we talked about, Settle All Scores, coming out. Interestingly enough, you guys signed to Maggot Stomp, and I'd kind of want to dabble on that because they seem to be taking over in that kind of world, the slam and heavy brutal death metal world, and they've kind of attracted not only attention from bands that have gone on to sign to bigger labels, but they've attracted the attention of like namestays like yourself. You guys have been around the genre for over 2 decades, almost 3 decades. So I'm curious.
Not almost, it's more than 3 decades.
Right. I had to catch myself because I remembered it was early 90s, so I had to.
That's why I corrected you.
Everything seems like it was, everything seems 20 years ago, no matter if it was 1980 or today, or 19.
I agree. I agree.
That's one of the things about the millennium, I guess. That's one of the things that'll haunt us forever, that we're born on the other side of the millennium. But yeah, so I want to know about the joining of that marriage and how, you guys selected them or how this all came about. So yeah, I'll let you kind of just run us down that road.
All right. So basically we were signed to Unique Leader, which is a great label. Mm-hmm. Everybody there is great, but we never thought they understood who we were as a band. They thought we were a legacy death metal band, which, okay, is true, but they didn't understand the essence of what we do and our music. Okay, so there was a bit of tension there on our end. And I was talking to our manager, and I said, we need to make a move. We need to do something different. We need to shake up the band. We need to go in a different direction. We need to do something. We started talking about going to a new label and this and that. What are we going to do? Do we want to pitch ourselves to Century Media? Do we want to pitch ourselves to a big label? I'm sure we can get signed to a bigger label than Unique Leader. We weighed all the pros and cons. We went back and forth with hundreds of emails and phone calls. And I think it was either our bass player, Ryan, or my guitar player, Chris, was like, we should just admit who we are and sign with Maggot Stomp if they'll have us. And I was like, you know what? That's a brilliant idea. I never thought of making a parallel move as opposed to making an upward move. I never thought of making a parallel move. So those guys opened my eyes up to making a parallel move, a sideways move. Same size label, kind of, but a deeper understanding of our music. And more importantly, a deeper understanding of social media and aesthetics.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Okay, and if anybody's followed Internal Bleeding for any period of time, we've always had a visual standard that people could recognize. And we've always had a way of saying things that people could recognize. And Unique Leader never understood that, but Scott and Maggot Stomp completely understood that. So we got in a conversation, and he's like, it would be a dream to sign you guys. So we said, fuck it, let's do it. I mean, none of us are making a living off this. So it's what's best for the band and what's best to keep the band relevant, and what's best to feel like you're with a label that really understands who you are. Not only, not as necessarily a commodity, but a band with a vision and a way of looking at things, and Scott understands all of that. So we have a great working relationship. I pick up the phone, I talk to him. I text him, I'll text him like, I'm too busy to make a flyer. Can you make me a flyer? He's like, yeah, give me a day and he'll make me a flyer, and it'll fit our aesthetic perfectly. And, there's something to be said about that,
Yeah.
And, so that's kind of why we made a parallel move,
I mean, a parallel move doesn't necessarily have to be a parallel move. It could, like you said, with the addition of how they understand you, their pulse on social media, their this, their that. It may even benefit you even more down the road.
Well, in the aspect of label size.
Yeah. I get what you.
But all those other tangential things that you just mentioned, those are what makes the difference.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not in this to make a living, and I don't know how many more years I have left. And if this happens to be the last album I do, I'm going to end on a high note. I'm on a label that I like, with the owner of a label that I really like, so it's all good,
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here as you're talking and as you're thinking, as you're expressing, the age situation and whatnot. It is kind of wild that you're, did you say that you're in your 60s or you're approaching your 60s?
I'm approaching 60 next year.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of, I myself, I have a birthday this week and I'll be 42 later this week. So it is, what was that?
I miss 42.
Hey, I'm glad that you're saying that, because I miss fucking 32 and 22.
Yeah, well, I miss 32.
Yeah, so, but like every decade's it has its own perks, and I've enjoyed every decade since. So it's not like I'm, crying about losing my youth, because I still do all the same stupid shit that I was doing when I was 22 too. I just am grown up about it now. Still doing the same shows and everything, just like yourself, I would assume. But it is kind of wild to see, you've had so long in you've been entrenched for so long, and especially like in metal, but not only in metal, but in a genre of metal that's very niche, and it's only really kind of getting the love that it I don't know if deserved is the proper word, but it's now getting recognition and love from a lot of individuals all over. And I'm curious as to, your thoughts on that, because again, as a purveyor and as like someone who could be named as some, people that started the whole movement back in the early 90s, late 80s, maybe even possibly. What is your stance on, like, how do you feel on when it comes to slam or brutal death metal in general, and how it's evolved over this course of?
I think it's pretty awesome that more popular than it's ever been. I always say to my bandmates who are 30 years younger than me, some of them 40 years younger than me, I say, you stick around long enough and the wheel will turn and your time will come. And that, I think, is true. I mean, everybody, a lot of, which is weird. A lot of young kids pine for like the 1990s and all that kind of death metal and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of sucked.
When you say that, like, what do you mean? Like the writing or the recordings
No,
or
the
anything?
music was great. The music was great, but
okay.
you'd be happy if you'd be happy if 80 to 100 people showed up to a show.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Now it's like every show is sold out, packed to the gills. I'm like, I was talking to my bass player, Ryan, we were talking about it, and he's 26. So he's 30 something years younger than me. I was like, dude, the 90s were awesome for the music, but like shows were so hit or miss.
Yeah.
They could suck ass and you could play in front of 6 people. And we've had shows where we played in front of 6 people, and you believed in the music, so you stuck it out, And now it's like it's hard to have a bad show.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing, and for me, it's really cool. So we played this show this summer in Minneapolis, and it was like we were the only band that was old. It was all young bands, and it was awesome because I got to hang out with all these young guys and girls who were in their 20s just discovering this stuff, and they knew who I was, which was really cool. But I had some great fucking conversations with them. Awesome stuff, and it's really happy. I'm really happy to see that. And there's a lot of guys my age, well, not my age, because I'm pretty at the senior scale, but there's guys maybe your age or a little older that are like cranky and upset about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what are these people doing in our scene? These are all hardcore kids, blah, blah, blah. Who the fuck cares, man? They're perpetuating the music that we love. What are you doing?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me, but you gotta, I think one of the ways to stay young is constantly embrace.
True. Yeah, very true.
And what's new, and that doesn't mean you can't change. That doesn't mean you have to change who you are, but you have to still embrace what's new, and accept that the world is the earth is gonna spin. You can plant your heels as hard as you want. That earth is gonna spin, and you're gonna die eventually. And if you sit there and be cranky about it, you're going to miss out.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And definitely, there is a big influx of hardcore kids finding death metal. And then they're also writing new genres, right? Where you have the crossover genre between hardcore and death metal. So, it's getting its legs in everything and everywhere. So, it is what it is.
And it'll also, like I say to a lot of people, it'll also sort itself out. So the people who are into it because it's fashionable and cool, they'll be gone in 2 or 3 years.
Right. It'll fade out.
And the people who believe in it and really enjoy it, they're going to stick around. So there always is a process of weeding out,
Yeah.
you know. And it happened in the '90s. In the '90s when death metal first kind of hit the scene, all of a sudden it was like there was 1,000 bands, and then they one by one they fell off the charts when they realized, oh, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so there's a process of weeding it. I don't know, man. I just try to take it in.
Yeah. But it's also good to, take in a little bit of the newer, younger generation, because you have to not only to stay relevant, but I mean, you don't want to, like you said, plant your heels in the earth. The earth keeps spinning, and next thing you know, you're not really understanding why you're fading out or phasing out of your own stuff. Your own world.
Right.
So.
I mean, my guitarist Chris McCarthy. We were talking. He's my primary songwriter. Him and I, and he's 20. He's like 20 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about our chemistry writing together. And I was like, why our stuff just fits? And he told me, he's like, dude, you're 60 years old and you still write shit that's competitive, and that holds up and that's catchy and that's got your signature to it that nobody can replicate. He's like, it's awesome. He's like, I don't know if I could be your age and still do that.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best compliments I've ever received in my life.
Have you, with aging and just getting older and everything like that, and I don't know, we don't know yet exactly what you do for work, but I don't know if maybe you have found that with aging, have you found like James Hetfield obviously infamously talks about how he can't play, or he tries not to play as fast as he had in the past, but have you noticed anything like that along the longevity of your career?
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially, I think when I hit like 55, the arthritis started kicking in, the back pain, the knee pain. Touring is very difficult for me. Even if I go away for 4 days, it's painful. Being cramped in a van, I'm 6'4", and being cramped in a van is a nightmare for me. Yeah. So it's a very real thing. Fortunately for James Hetfield, he gets to sleep in a bus. He gets beautiful hotels. I don't get any of that.
Right.
I still have to lug equipment and all. And when you get to be like close to 60, man, carrying a 4x12 cabinet, not that it's heavy. It's after you put it down. It's 2 hours after you put it down on the floor, on the ground, on the stage, that you feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't have carried that.
Yeah.
And so now, it used to be I used to go on tour, I'd come back, I'd recover in a day, and now it's like 4 days, 5 days, sometimes longer. At my age, you wake up and things hurt, and you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going through something with my Achilles heel right now, my Achilles tendon. No fucking clue what I did. I just woke up, and all of a sudden, I'm in excruciating pain on my right ankle.
Yeah.
And there's no rhyme or reason, but the only rhyme or reason is age. And I've not that I've abused my body, but carrying equipment for 30 years and playing football in high school and going 110% all the time without proper recovery time, it catches up to you. It always will. There's no way around it. But do you want to play your entire life safe so that when you're my age, you don't have any aches and pains? I don't know. I'm glad I went 120 miles an hour. I'm glad I started this band, started my own business, went balls to the wall, nonstop. I'm glad I did it. I'm at the age now where I honestly don't want to go 120% anymore. I want to take more time to touch grass and look at the trees and just breathe. because I haven't done that. I've just been go, 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 and that's cool, and it's great, and it's awesome, and you accomplish a lot of stuff. But then you kind of miss the beauty of being alive also.
Bit, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, sitting on my front porch right now, I got a cigar, I got a drink, I have a beautiful view in front of me. It's awesome. And I'm not doing shit except for talking to you. Mm-hmm. And there's no disrespect saying I'm not doing shit. I'm just saying is, it's like, God, this is fucking great.
Yeah. No offense taken. I'm not offended by any means. But also, you know, people that go at 120 miles an hour and go balls to the wall, they also make the world turn. So, you know, one reason or another, you know, there's someone doing the exact opposite of you that you're probably overcompensating for in general. So the world is balanced. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm sure you're right.
I would hope so, that it's one for one, but something tells me sometimes it's not one for one.
It's definitely not for the one. The guys who do the 120% all day are carrying a whole people. Then, yeah.
For the layman that may not know the differences and the nuances between like genres such as like brutal death metal, and slam, can you explain, like, you know, where the style of death metal that you guys have kind of just ran with, like, or, you know, are touted with pioneering, like, where did that come from? And like,
okay, so that's a hard, it's a hard question, and I'll tell you why it's a hard question. Sure. Because my vision, and not mine, that mine is too selfish. Our original conception of the band, so like me, Billy, Anthony, our original conception of what slam was constant groove and constant hooks. Okay, so like most slam today is all about the slow jun riff, right?
Yeah.
Now we use that, but that's not what we think slam is. Slam is, and I'm glad that most people don't pick up on it. But our vision of slam is it's constant. It's just constant hooks that pull you in, constant groove. Even the fast parts you can bang your head to. You know, it's a thing that just keeps your body moving all the time. It doesn't sound like a pinball machine, you know, and I don't mind that. I like that. It's not what I want to play.
Right.
So there's a big difference. Like brutal death metal is, okay, so brutal death metal is riff after riff, and most of it is incomprehensible for people who don't know anything about death metal.
Right. Okay.
If you're schooled in death metal, it's comprehensible. But if you're not, it's completely inconsequential. You know, you can't understand it, and it makes no sense. So that's like brutal death metal. Then there's today's slam, which is all about the slow, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's like classic death metal, which is kind of like picture Morbid Angel, where they have some groovy parts, they have some groovy fast parts. It's extreme, but it's not too extreme.
Right.
Even though when it came out, it was extreme.
Right.
But I'm looking at through today's eyes. You know, so I think that's kind of how things separate, you know?
Is there something to do with like the lyrical content in slam too? Was that a new age thing where it's more tongue in cheek, humorous than?
Yeah, I don't know where that started.
Okay, because I feel like.
But you're right. There is a lot of tongue in cheek humor. There is a lot of purposefully way over the top.
Yeah, like it might be grotesque and it might be like brutal and grotesque, but it's still humorous and funny in a way that it's like lighthearted gruesomeness or something like that.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. That's a good way to look at it. There's a lot of bands that do slam that are really funny. that have a lot of comedy to them.
I keep thinking like Peeling Flesh is one of those, like the
Yeah.
newer band. Their lyrics are a little jokey lyrics, and I didn't know if that was something that, because it's a running theme with, like, I guess, slam bands that are popular in circles that I talk to, or like friends of mine that like slam. They seem to gravitate towards the more comedic current slam than maybe there's other slam out there that's current that I don't know that's not as funny, right? So I don't necessarily know, but it just seemed like a running theme, and I was curious as to if that was a running theme the entire time or when that popped up.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of that, and I think sorry, I'm bringing you inside because I need more bourbon.
That's all good. I knew you were running low. I even was thinking, I was like, he's gonna have to re-up.
I think I don't know where, like I said, I don't know where it came from, but I think it's pretty fun. I think I also think some of it I don't understand because it's so over the top as far as how do I explain this? As far as like sampling and the way they edit songs and stuff like that, I think it doesn't sound, some of it doesn't sound organic, which I don't like, me personally. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is, and it's cool. Kids dig it. It's awesome to me. Fuck it. As long as you enjoy it.
Yeah, I get that. One thing I kept thinking this entire time chatting with you is right before we even started recording how you were yelling across the street to a neighbor. And then in my head, I could only imagine, like, the neighbor has no idea you're about to do a podcast, obviously, with me and talk about death metal and slam for the next hour or so. But I was curious as to, like, do your neighbors, I mean, obviously they know you have a day job and you work a day job and whatnot, but do they know anything about, like...
Oh, yeah, they all do. I live in a cul-de-sac with about 5 houses. And they all know what I do. They all ask. What's really funny is, talk about small world stuff. My neighbor across the street, they moved in, I don't know, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And the husband, his brother, I used to play in his brother's band in like 1988, 1989. I used to sing in his band Wicked Sin.
Wow.
Like in 1988. Yeah, I mean, small world stuff. So yeah, all these guys know what they do. They're always at the neighbor I was yelling at. He's like, "Where's my internal bleeding shirt?" He's always asking me for a shirt.
It's on the website. You can purchase it.
Yeah, so it's cool. And my other neighbor across the street's a very religious man. Like, he's a pastor in a church and all this stuff, and he still asks me about, when are you going on tour? This and that. So it's really cool. Yeah. I live in a great neighborhood, and yeah, they know what I do. And my clients know what I do too, which is funny because I'll walk into an office and they're like, "Oh, the rock star is here," and I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!"
It's like, yeah, on a level, it's not any level you're thinking, but but again, like I'm curious as to if like, yes, they may know that you're in a band and that you play this kind of aggressive music, but do they know, like, how long and like, you are influential in your own way, or the group is influential in its own way for, influencing bands that are coming after and sound that's coming after, since the early 90s. But it's always curious, it's always interesting because you're just a regular Joe on the cul-de-sac and you're not, you're not Chris from Internal Bleed. I mean, you are, but to them, you're just neighbor Chris. It's
one of the cool. So my oldest son, he's 18, and two of his friends are really into death metal. And they're like, they come into my house and they're like, oh, they like think like they're in front of God or something. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, just chill, It's really cool, and I've had incidents where I'm going out to lunch with a client, and a kid will come up to me we'll be at like, Starbucks having coffee with a client, and a kid will come up to me and be like, "Are you Chris from Internal Bleeding? Can I take a picture with you?" And my client's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. What do you, if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to tell me also, but like, what do you do for your day job outside of
A
the
web developer.
web developer? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. That's
I
it.
own my own business. I've owned my own business since 2003.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jobs that people from the music and band world get into, and development is one, like, front end and back end development is definitely one of those jobs. Screen printing and barbershops are another
Yeah,
big
yeah, yeah,
plug for
yeah.
those. But
Total barbershops is such a hardcore thing.
yeah. I mean, in general, you talk to anybody, they're like, yeah, I work in design, or I make websites, or because we've all done our own flyers for a number of years. Probably had to make our own websites for a number of years. So you take those skills and you try to get a real world job with
Yeah,
them. But
so I studied graphic design in college, and then I got into the advertising world in the early 90s, which was I miss that. I miss being I can tell you I miss being a creative director at an advertising agency. You ever hear of the show Mad Men?
oh, I loved it. But you know what? I think about it all the time. That's not probably no longer going on. So you're not missing much.
Not anymore, but
Yeah.
but when I came in on the tail end of Mad Men. So I was in Don Draper's position for many years.
Doing like midday bourbon naps. Is that a thing?
Oh
Like,
no, not that. No, not the alcohol, but the creative pitches and all.
got you.
I did all that and print advertising and coming up with headlines and all. I did all that. I love it. I miss it so much. But the world's changed, and
Yep.
that's the way it is. But I'm glad I got to do it because I loved print advertising. I did a lot of good work for Visa and American Express and Marshall amplifiers, where I've written all the copy, I wrote all the headlines, I art directed the photography, like really cool stuff, it just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. I think it might be coming back. And I don't know if that's if you've noticed something like that, but I think, and again, these younger kids seem to be getting more and more intimate with their media as they've age on. Like tapes are becoming a thing again, CDs are a thing again, vinyl's always kind of been around. But I feel like, magazines, even though they were, the main magazines are dropping off because they've been purchased by basically like e-commerce conglomerates, and they just try to sell like vinyl and knick-knack tic-tac shit through the magazine website these days. But the ones that have stuck around, the ones that are somewhat famous, that are still there, they are kind of coming back too. And I wonder if we'll get to that point where we will get back to like a Mad Men-esque type environment, where maybe not with the demeaning of women and the drinking in the daytime.
No, of course not. That's gone. Yeah, that's
But
gone.
the other fun stuff.
Like I said, I didn't experience that.
Right.
That,
I'm bummed out about the midday naps and the drinks in the office. That was something. That was the thing in the show. I was like, God, these guys are just kicking back on the couch, and I'm like, never.
but we didn't. But okay, so we landed this big bank client. I don't know what year it was, but we landed and we had to come up with an ad campaign for them, and they had bought a bunch of banks, and we had to figure out how are we going to tell people that their bank has just been bought out and they shouldn't feel uncomfortable that their bank has been bought out. And honestly, me and my two partners, Bob, they were both named Bob. We sat in Bob's office. I was in a rocking chair. The other Bob was on a couch, and the other Bob was in a chair, and we just smoked cigars and pitched ideas back and forth all day.
Yeah.
The office door was closed. It was just all smoke in the office. And we just pitched ideas back and forth all day until we came up with something that won the client over, and it worked out. But so, I mean, that used to be the creative process.
Yeah.
So that napping thing and all that crap it's just part of the.
No, I get it, and it makes sense to me. But then also being, Mad Men, I was probably working when that show came out. I had probably already been working for over a decade somewhere, right? So like, in my head, I'm like, dude, I'm in the class of like, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean, that kind of fucking mindset. So there was no fucking relaxation on the job for me. So foreign. But
Now, when I was a kid, when I was a kid, my father owned a lamp company. My father used to manufacture lamps.
okay.
And when I was a kid, if there was a holiday that there was no school or whatever, I'd have to go into New York City with him and spend the day with him. And it was madmen. My father had a bar in his office. There wasn't the disrespect for women.
I'm sure it was a little blown up for the show, obviously.
I don't think it was. I don't know if it was that. My father was a very chill guy. So, but like lunchtime would come, I'd go into my father's office. The 3 secretaries were in there drinking. Everybody was drinking and smoke. They were getting fucking hammered, dude. And I didn't understand that. My father would say something, go look at the teletype and see if anything's come in on the teletype.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you know what a teletype is.
It's probably like a ticker tape, but like
it's the predecessor to the fax machine.
Yeah. Something that would come through, but
right. And I'd have to tear off these big pieces of paper and bring them in my father. But yeah, I mean, that kind of existed. My father had a huge bar, and they would lunchtime was like 12 to 2 o'clock, and they were just getting hammered.
So weird. No wonder everything took forever to get done back in the day, and they were still mailing letters. That's probably why we're not allowed to we're not able to get as inebriated these days, because the world is moving too quick. You got to be with it. You got to be with the.
Man, it's crazy. And you know what? My father taught me. You remember a while ago we were talking about embracing all the new stuff, and
right.
And my father, may he rest in peace, was always, when the iPad came out, my father was like, "This is the coolest thing ever." He asked me, "Can you show me how to use this?" And my father embraced the iPad. He embraced the iPhone. Every new technology that came out, my father would embrace it. And we would talk, and he'd say, "Do you know I grew up in an age where people delivered ice to me?"
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
He's like, "Do you know how cool this is?"
Yeah.
And you know what? I say that to my sons. I'm like, "Do you know how cool it is that I have a phone in my pocket that does everything?"
Yep.
Do you know when I was a kid, I used to have to take a phone and go like this and dial it?
You had to put your TV on a certain channel, wait forever till the channel that you wanted to see what was on TV at the time came through. And if you missed it, or if you hit the channel and you were looking for channel 20 and like channel 22 was already there, you had to wait. And depending on how many channels your area had, you had to maybe wait another 100 channels to fucking see what was going on at 7 o'clock on channel 23. It was nuts.
Oh my God. I mean, but that's like, what did you say? You're 42?
Yeah.
You've lived through a lot of history.
I have, but again, there's been a lot in general.
No, I know, me too, but I don't think when you're young, you don't realize it.
You don't realize it as you're going through it either. Like, I don't realize I've gone through it, but then you take a step back one day on your porch and you're like,
everybody should take a step back. And I do this. Everybody should take a step back and see how far we've come. Like when I started first building websites, everything was built with tables,
Yeah.
And now,
I laugh because I do it. I also was around that time too. So
right. You were, but that's when the web started. But I started with tables, and I was one of the first people doing it. That's how I managed to get my business off the ground, because I was way ahead of the curve.
Did you ever think it was like, for me, it felt like tables were just like a cheat code for placing things some places that other places, like, it was easier for me to like in my head, I could manipulate the table. I could figure out how to put something somewhere on the page with a table rather than probably the real way you're supposed to do it or whatever. But I just manipulated the table enough to fucking do it.
And now things are crazy now with fluid design and all that, and it's awesome. And I'm at my age, I gotta admit, I'm having trouble keeping up. That's why I have young guys on staff. I set the vision, I set the creative, and I have the young guys do the work.
Yeah.
where I used to do the work, but I can't. I got to be top level now, and that's okay. But I still try to learn. I still watch videos every day trying to learn.
There's just
more
so
stuff.
much. There's just so much that comes out at a much greater pace than when we were back then. You know, it's like with AI and everything too. It's getting more and more crazy. Yeah, I want to kind of wrap it up here with a couple. I want to know, like, is there anything that you guys or with your shows coming up? You've been, playing like for over 3 decades. What are some of the rituals that you do before you get on stage, or do you have a ritual that you do before you get on stage?
Not really. I mean, everybody kind of goes to their own personal space.
Like no stretching, no.
I stretch.
Yeah.
I know my other guitarist, Chris McCarthy. I know he stretches. Kyle, our drummer, stretches. Steve's usually at the merch booth, so he's just like, he slams a beer and runs up on stage. And Ryan is 20-something years old, so
No stretching.
Yeah, he's got he doesn't really drink that much, but he's got like the memory retention of an elephant, and he can pick up anything, and he doesn't have to worry about anything because he's so young.
Yeah.
You can just get on stage and abuse his body, and I keep telling him, I'm like, 20 years from now, you're not going to be able to walk, but he doesn't care.
I feel that. And I want to end on this last question here. What motivates you after all these years to keep not only writing, but being a part of the scene itself? Because I mean, you don't have to do it. You have a day job. You know what I mean? You don't have to.
I know. I'm trying to think about that because I think it's the friendships I've made. I think about this because there's going to be a point where I retire.
Right.
I mean, there's going to be a point. And I think about this and am I going to lose who I am if I retire? I don't know. I hope my friends stick around. The friends I've met through the scene for all these years and all that stuff. I hope they stick around and all that. So I want to say it's the friendships I made because I have a lot of friends that I've made over the years that I still talk to, that I'm still close with, and that's important to me.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied that I've left my mark in the world. So like I'm okay with that. I'm satisfied. I made my mark in the world in the music scene, and I'm good if like everything disappeared tomorrow. I'd be happy. I made my mark. I made a difference. I'm happy with that. I'm afraid of losing friends. So I guess that's the lesson for me. Gotcha. And I don't know I haven't grappled with that yet, and I haven't thought that through yet. But I enjoy being on Facebook and talking to all my metal friends.
Yeah, I don't think you'll lose that at all. I think you'll have more time for that probably as it goes.
I hope so.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. But I still love the music. Yeah, I still love the music. I still like creating the music. And we'll see, I mean, right now we're in a position where we've never been before. We're in a really good position. We're very popular, knock on wood. People like us, knock on wood. Like if it all ended tomorrow, that'd be great because I'm ending on a high note like Seinfeld wanted to do.
Right.
And that's good. But I'm having trouble grappling because it's been my identity for more than half my life.
I can feel that. I understand that. Yeah, I understand that.
So, and I talk about this with my wife all the time, and I don't have an answer.
Interesting. Well, I think you guys, like you said, you guys are as popular as you probably have ever been. I think whether it's the second, third, fourth coming of Internal Bleeding, I think this is probably going to be the next biggest moment for the band in general, because not only with your partnership with Maggot Stomp and just all these things, but I think it's the right time of, all the planets aligning, whether it's you guys putting the time and effort in and the partnership with Maggot Stomp, them doing their thing, bands and just younger kids getting into it. More people are around for it. So, I think that you guys are on the next big upswing for the band.
But remember what I said earlier? You stick around long enough.
Yeah, the wheel.
The wheel will turn.
The wheel.
Some of it's a long, as much as I hate, as much as I dislike, I'm not going to mention, but as much as I dislike some political ideologies, they do have the right mindset. The world will turn and our time will come.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
I'm not going to go into the ideologies.
They all play the long game. They play the long game.
They play the long game, and you know what? Okay, so we have another couple of minutes?
Go for it.
This has to do with business.
Yep.
Nobody today, corporations, play the long game.
True, yeah.
They play the quarterly stock earnings. They don't play where are we going to be 20 years from now?
Well, that's because BlackRock and the investors don't care about that.
No, they don't. And listen, I'm an investor and I made a lot of money investing, but if you own a business or you're a CEO, you should always be looking at the long game.
Mm-hmm.
And take a loss here because in 10 years it's going to change so the long game is an important thing, man, even in professional sports. Football, the long game is important. And I think the biggest lesson I've learned in life is the long game is incredibly important. And if you feel frustrated now, but you really believe in what you do, don't give it up.
Yeah.
Because the world will turn and your time will come if you really believe in it. You have to believe in it. You have to have a fanatical belief.
Right. You can't be you can't pussyfoot it, so to speak.
Right. You have to have fanatical belief in what you're doing in order to be successful. And it's hard to keep up, especially when things are bad. But that's what you got to do.
Agreed. Chris, Internal Bleeding, thank you very much for joining me on this Monday evening on your porch. And
Thank you, man.
You're more than welcome. I have I lied. I got one more quick little question.
Go ahead.
Have you and Serge from System of a Down ever been in the same room together?
Oh, God damn it. This has been an ongoing joke for like 20 years.
I could see it, Chris. I could see it. Right when you got on, I was like, God damn, dude.
I know. You know what?
And that's no disrespect. I love System of a Down. You know what I mean? To each his own. I actually really do love the band, and I think he's a great vocalist. But you do look like you could be his brother. You could be his brother. You
really like that. I hate that whiny.
Man, I mean
great band. I'm not musically. Those guys are incredibly tight and talented, but that whiny.
It all fits.
I hate.
It all fits in a certain way. Like they are also a song they're band that write songs that are silly. They have silly songs, but that have some weird meaning to it, right? Because they're like a socio-political band, right? But they got like fucking weird songs about the refrigerator and food in the refrigerator and stuff, and it all makes sense in the end. But it is a very niche band. But as someone who grew up on nu metal, when that band came out, that fucking band was nuts. So
do you like? Have you ever listened to the Iomi album with Serge on it?
No.
Listen to that.
I'll have to. I've only listened to I don't even listen to like the offshoot, like Scars on Broadway or any of the other like side projects of any of the bands, any of the guys in the band. But
listen to the first, Tony Iommi's my hero, but listen to the first Iomi album.
Okay.
Serge is on that and he kills it.
Will do. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, he kills it. And Phil Anselmo's on that. And
okay. Yeah.
Great music on that album. It's a killer album that nobody knows about. It's just Riff City and great vocalist. Oh, so good.
Well, they'll know about it now, hopefully. So we've done our part, or you've done your part, I should say. Chris, again, I appreciate it. What is it? Set All Scores, right? Is that it? Set All Scores coming out on Maggot Stomp in the next handful of weeks. You got a pair of singles out now. I don't know if you'll release another one before the release of the album, but if not, check it out. Internal Bleeding's got a couple shows coming up. I'm sure more in the future as the album comes out, as you begin to announce that stuff. But check it out. If you are into death metal at all, I'm sure they've had a hand in influencing some band along the way that you probably like.
Thanks, man. I appreciate your time.
Take it easy. I'll see you later, man.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
You too.